Most people don't give much thought to the color they wear on New Year's Day. Maybe something festive. Maybe just something comfortable. But what if the color you choose that morning quietly sets the emotional tone for the rest of your year? Not in a superstitious way, not as a magical fix, but as an energy, a reflection of how you step into a brand new cycle. In many traditions, the first day of the year is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a doorway, a moment when your thoughts, emotions, and even your appearance begin to broadcast a message not just to others, but to life itself. And one color, in particular, carries an unexpected kind of influence when used with care: yellow. Yellow doesn't scream for attention, it doesn't demand applause, but it does hold space. It's the color of quiet strength, of stability without stiffness. And in 2026, a year ruled by fast-moving fire energy, yellow becomes more than just a fashion choice. For 6 specific Chinese zodiac signs, it's a reset button, a subtle anchor, a way to start the year not just brightly, but intentionally. Because while some colors excite and others soothe, yellow balances. It steadies, it reminds. And for those born under certain signs, wearing the right shade of yellow on January 1st might be the small, mindful act that shifts everything else into place. In this video, we'll explore who those signs are and why yellow might just be the silent support they need to face a year that won't wait, won't slow down, and won't always make space for second chances. Part 1. Why yellow is more than just a happy color. Yellow gets a lot of attention this time of year. Stores dress mannequins in lemon and gold. Magazines label it the lucky color. And maybe, at first glance, it feels cheerful, a quick symbol of sunshine, optimism, good things ahead. But for those of us who've lived long enough to know the weight of quiet beginnings, we understand something deeper. Not all brightness is bold. And not all energy makes noise. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can wear is a feeling no one else can name, but you carry it anyway. That's what yellow can be. It's not just a color of joy. It's a stabilizer. A soft middle ground between fire and air, between acting and thinking. Yellow doesn't rush. It doesn't push. It holds. It's the color that listens before it speaks. And in a year like 2026 with fast, unpredictable energy, that makes all the difference. Because this isn't going to be a quiet year. This is a year of movement, momentum, and constant change. And when everything else moves fast, your energy needs somewhere to rest. Yellow offers that rest. Not in a sleepy, numbing way, but in a way that says, breathe here, gather yourself, remember who you are before you respond to the noise around you. That's not superstition. That's self-leadership. In Feng Shui and energy work, yellow is linked to the earth element, the force that grounds us when life pulls us in too many directions. When used intentionally, yellow doesn't just brighten a room, it anchors your mind. It brings your thoughts back from overthinking. It turns hesitation into calm certainty. And at the start of the year, when everything feels half-finished or too new to trust, wearing yellow is like giving yourself permission to land softly, fully, without apology. And yes, color is silent, but silence carries. Think about the people in your life who walk into a room and don't need to say much, yet everyone feels their presence. That's yellow, when worn with intention. It doesn't demand attention, it draws it in. Not loudly, but steadily. So while some people chase bold reds or dramatic blacks to manifest strength in the new year, yellow does something gentler and in many ways, more enduring. It supports the mind that's been through a lot. It reassures the spirit that's tired of proving. And for 6 Chinese zodiac signs in particular, it gives them exactly what the year ahead will, not a moment to gather themselves before the race begins. Yellow isn't here to transform you. It's here to remind you that you're already enough, and that beginning again doesn't always require a fight. Sometimes, it just takes a soft place to start. Part 2. Who should wear yellow? Not for luck, but for balance. 1 Rat. When emotions pull you in every direction. Some years arrive like a warm sunrise, gentle, steady, offering space to breathe. 2026 won't be that kind of year for those born under the sign of the rat. This is a fire-driven year. Fast, restless, relentless in its pace and emotional undercurrents. And for the rat whose natural strength lies in being sharp, resourceful, and composed, this year may pull them in directions they didn't expect, and frankly, don't want. That's why yellow matters. Not as a charm for good luck, but as a quiet shield for emotional balance. Rats tend to think fast and move even faster. But that quickness often comes from a deep need to stay in control of outcomes, of plans, of emotions. When something unpredictable enters the space, a disagreement, a delay, a shift in someone else's energy, it doesn't just throw off the schedule. It shakes their sense of certainty. And in 2026, the world around them won't follow their lead. Which means they'll need to learn how to remain still even when everything around them speeds up. This is where yellow becomes more than a color. On the first day of the year, when energy is still raw, open, and absorbent, wearing yellow is like choosing to step in with clarity, not chaos. Yellow, especially in its softer tones like ochre or warm gold, supports emotional equilibrium. It helps the mind slow down just enough to hear itself think. It doesn't suppress emotion, it softens the spikes, clears the fog, and gives space between thought and reaction. For rats, who often internalize pressure and overthink in silence, yellow says, you don't have to solve everything today. You don't have to have the perfect plan or the perfect words. You just have to stay present. Rats don't ask for much on the surface, they often appear self-sufficient. But beneath that resilience is a constant buzz of what ifs and what now. In a year like this, that buzz can turn into burnout if not managed with intention. Yellow helps temper that internal storm. It doesn't quiet ambition, it grounds it. But let's be clear, yellow won't stop hard days from coming. It won't protect the rat from disappointments or emotional swings. What it does do is offer a starting point rooted in self-awareness. When a rat chooses to wear yellow on January 1st, they're not hoping for good things. They're declaring something deeper. I am meeting this year calmly. I am not chasing. I am steady. I am enough even when the world feels like too much. And that matters, because rats are entering a year of potential turning points. Career shifts, unexpected conversations, changes in family dynamics, not dramatic perhaps, but subtle and constant. And those small currents, if not navigated with clarity, can create big emotional waves over time. That's why the first day of the year holds power. It's not just symbolic, it's strategic. It sets the tone. Yellow supports that tone in an intelligent way. It aligns with earth energy, the kind that doesn't rush, doesn't demand, but holds everything in place. Think of yellow like the ground beneath a fast-moving river. No matter how loud the water gets, the earth remains. That's what the rat needs in 2026, something beneath their emotions that doesn't move. There's also something visually powerful about yellow that supports the rat's journey this year. It's approachable without being passive. It's present without dominating. It allows the rat to show up not flashy, not hidden, but real. That visual statement helps reinforce the kind of energy they need to attract calm interactions, mutual respect, thoughtful momentum. So, if you were born in the year of the rat, and you've been wondering how to meet this coming year with confidence, don't wait for signs. Choose your own. Choose yellow, not as a trend, not as a superstition, but as a conscious act of grounding. A wearable reminder that in a year full of noise, your clarity is your protection. Because some people will start the year hoping it goes well, but you're starting it prepared, balanced, and beautifully grounded. To cat, when the world speeds up, you don't have to. Some people start the year by setting goals. Others start by catching their breath. But if you were born under the sign of the cat, 2026 isn't calling you to run. It's inviting you to remember your rhythm and to protect it. Because the world this year will move fast. Too fast. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself adjusting to everyone else's urgency and forgetting what truly matters to you. Cats are not lazy, they're deliberate, sensitive to timing, emotionally intelligent in ways that often go unnoticed. They move only when it makes sense. They rest when others are still chasing. And in a year like 2026, where energy will be fiery, reactive, and full of go-now pressure, the cat's quiet power could be mistaken for hesitation. But make no mistake, their strength lies in staying slow and staying sure. This is where yellow becomes more than just a style choice. It becomes a boundary, a signal, a layer of calm between you and a world that may expect too much too quickly. On January 1st, when energy is still soft, still forming, the color you wear becomes a whisper to the universe about how you intend to move through the months ahead. Yellow, especially soft, grounded tones like buttercream, muted gold, or sandy beige, tells the truth without raising its voice. It says, "I will not be rushed." Cats often carry silent expectations from others, and from within. Expectations to be composed, to say the right thing, to take care of everyone without losing themselves in the process. But this year, if you're not intentional, those expectations could become emotional weight. Small, quiet burdens that slowly press down on your joy. Yellow doesn't remove the pressure, it reminds you that you don't owe anyone more than what feels true. That your pace is valid, that waiting can be wise. Wearing yellow at the start of this year is like marking sacred ground around your energy. It softens defensiveness. It creates space for reflection before reaction. It turns urgency into thoughtfulness. And that's exactly what the cat will need. Because while others may be driven by excitement or ambition, your compass is different. You don't follow the crowd, you sense the shift beneath the surface. And this year, sensing won't be enough. You'll need to act from that intuition, not in spite of it. There's power in subtlety. In choosing an outfit that doesn't scream, but settles. In surrounding yourself with softness that doesn't mean weakness, just clarity. You may find yourself in situations this year where people expect fast answers, bold moves, clear direction. But your strength will come from saying, "Not yet. Let me feel it first." That pause, that's your wisdom, that's your protection. Yellow doesn't guarantee ease, but it offers steadiness. It allows you to enter the year on your own terms, and that matters more than ever. Because 2026 may not be loud in obvious ways. The pressure you feel might be subtle, hidden inside social expectations, unspoken family dynamics, or the quiet guilt of not being productive enough. But you're not here to perform. You're here to live in alignment. Yellow helps you do that, not by making you stand out, but by making you feel seen by your own self. So on January 1st, wear something that soothes. A fabric that drapes softly, a color that doesn't crowd you, a tone that reminds you it's okay to take your time. Let others chase the rush. You are not behind, you are in tune. You are not indecisive, you are discerning. Because in a world that moves too fast, those who trust their own pace often find deeper joy, deeper clarity, and fewer regrets. And if you start your year anchored in that knowing with yellow close to your skin, then every decision that follows will feel more like a choice and less like a reaction. You don't need more speed. You need more space. And yellow, in its quiet wisdom, gives you both. 3. Rooster. When the plan fails, your calm begins. Roosters live by clarity. They feel most at ease when everything, their home, their schedule, their relationships has structure. There's a quiet pride in the way they keep things organized, moving, and under control. But in 2026, that sense of order may feel harder to hold. This is not a year that follows the rules. And for those born under the sign of the rooster, that unpredictability might not just be inconvenient, it might feel personal. When plans unravel, roosters don't panic outwardly. They tighten their grip inward. They double down on trying to fix, manage, adjust anything to bring back the sense of certainty. But sometimes, the harder you try to hold everything in place, the more pressure builds inside. And this year, the more you chase control, the more quickly it may slip through your fingers. That's why the most powerful thing a rooster can do in 2026 is release the plan. Not the purpose, not the values, just the attachment to how things were supposed to unfold. And that shift, that letting go, begins with something as quiet as the color you choose on January 1st. Yellow is not a control color. It doesn't demand attention, and it doesn't organize chaos. What it does do is soften your energy just enough to let the day unfold without needing to script every moment of it. When a rooster wears yellow, they're not losing control. They're choosing calm over control, space over strain. There's something humbling about that choice. Roosters are doers. They take pride in keeping it all together. But 2026 may ask you to keep yourself together, first. To prioritize your own emotional stability over everyone else's expectations. Yellow supports that shift not with drama, but with quiet dignity. Think of yellow not as an accessory but as a permission slip. To exhale. To not know. To wait and see. When worn on the first day of the year, yellow becomes a soft message to your own nervous system. You're allowed to loosen your grip. Nothing's falling apart, it's just changing shape. This year will come with moments of disruption, plans delayed, conversations misaligned, progress that feels more like a puzzle than a path. But those moments don't have to define you. In fact, they may reveal your greatest strength, not how much you can hold, but how gracefully you can adapt when the holding stops working. That's what yellow brings. Grace. It doesn't fix anything for you. It just keeps you emotionally upright long enough to move through change without panic. It brings warmth to your decision-making, softens judgment, especially the self-directed kind, and gives your mind a little more room to think clearly when nothing feels clear around you. Roosters often feel responsible for keeping everyone else grounded. But this year, what if you started by grounding yourself first? Not with more tasks or tighter routines, but with color, space, and softness. A light yellow blouse, a warm-toned scarf, a small detail that says, "I'm not giving up the structure, I'm just giving up the stress." There's quiet power in that. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's deeply effective. Especially in a year when emotional steadiness is more valuable than speed, and self-trust is the only roadmap that works when the route keeps changing. So if you're a rooster and your instinct is to get ahead of the year, pause. You don't need to sprint into 2026. You need to step into it softly, with grace, with space, and with the kind of calm that doesn't need a plan to feel ready. Because when the plan fails, your calm begins. And sometimes, that's exactly where transformation starts. 4 Monkey. When sharp minds get scattered. Monkeys are quick not just in action, but in mind. They can read a room in seconds, spot opportunity where others see nothing, and pivot before anyone else realizes a change is needed. That speed is their gift. But in 2026, it's also their risk. Because this year moves fast not with clarity, but with chaos. And when the outside world spins too quickly, even the sharpest minds can start to scatter. If you were born under the sign of the monkey, you likely thrive on stimulation. You enjoy solving problems, figuring things out, making moves others don't see coming. But fast energy isn't always focused energy. And 2026 will be full of distractions that look like possibilities, tempting roads that lead to nowhere. That's when even the most brilliant thinkers can lose their center, not because they're weak, but because they're wired to explore. This is where yellow comes in, not as a stop sign, but as a reset button. Monkeys don't need less motion, they need more meaning in the motion. Wearing yellow on the first day of the year isn't about slowing down, it's about checking in. It's a moment of grounding before the race begins. A moment to ask, what am I really chasing? And is it still mine to pursue? Yellow is the color of clear discernment. It doesn't dull your thinking, it sharpens it by calming the noise around it. It brings space between thought and action. And that's exactly what monkeys will need. Because when everything feels urgent, your energy fragments. You say yes too quickly. You take on too much. And then, slowly, your sharpness turns into stress. In 2026, you'll have no shortage of opportunities. But not all of them deserve your time. Yellow supports your ability to choose wisely. Not emotionally, not impulsively, but intentionally. When worn close to the body, a scarf, a soft sweater, a small accessory, yellow becomes a reminder, not everything has to be acted on. Some things can just pass by. That's not easy for the monkey. You're used to grabbing hold of life, shaping it, flipping the script. But not every year rewards hustle. Some years reward stillness, reflection, precision over productivity. Wearing yellow tells your nervous system you don't have to react. You can wait, you can watch, and in that pause, wisdom returns. Let's be honest, most people wouldn't guess how much monkeys overthink. On the outside, they look light, playful, even spontaneous. But inside, it's a different story. The inner world of a monkey is full of tabs open, thoughts looping, mental to-do lists no one sees. In a year like this, all that thinking can turn into emotional static. And when clarity fades, confidence often follows. Yellow doesn't fix that, but it creates space around it. It gives your thoughts room to breathe. It slows the spiral. It doesn't numb your intelligence, it refocuses it. So on January 1st, when the year is still soft and the noise hasn't started, reach for something yellow. Not loud, not flashy, just a whisper of warmth to anchor you. Because this isn't a year to chase every spark. It's a year to tend to your own fire. Not all motion is progress. Not all yes answers bring joy. And if you begin this year with a moment of intention of stillness, you're far more likely to end it with peace. You're not here to prove how fast your mind is. You already know that. You're here to remember what truly deserves your energy and what doesn't. And in that remembering, yellow becomes more than a color. It becomes a quiet commitment this year. I choose focus over frenzy. And that choice begins now. 5 Ox when supporters are called to lead. Some people are built to be seen, others are built to be strong. And the ox is both, though you might never know it from how they live. Quiet, consistent, and deeply loyal, oxen often serve as the emotional foundation in their families, friendships, and communities. They don't ask for recognition, they don't crave the spotlight, they just carry, quietly, constantly. But 2026 changes that. This is not a year for silent strength. It's a year that asks, what if being strong also meant being visible? What if supporting others required showing up differently, more clearly, more fully, more seen? Oxen aren't afraid of responsibility, but they are often uncomfortable with self-promotion. They'd rather let their actions speak, and usually they do. But this year, that won't be enough. The energy of 2026 is fast-moving, bold, fire-driven. In that climate, if you stay behind the curtain too long, people may forget you're even part of the performance. That's why wearing yellow on the first day of the year isn't just symbolic for the ox, it's transformative. Yellow doesn't scream. It doesn't demand. But it draws attention with calm authority. It says, I'm here now. Not to compete. Not to overpower. But to participate fully, no longer hiding behind the role of the dependable one. Because even support systems need to be seen. Even steady shoulders deserve to stand tall. And for oxen in 2026, visibility isn't vanity, it's leadership. You don't have to become loud. You just have to stop being invisible. Yellow helps with that shift. It warms your presence without distorting it. It highlights your reliability in a way that invites trust, not tension. When others see you in yellow, especially soft golds or honeyed tones, what they feel is clarity. You don't have to explain yourself. You just have to show up open, steady, present. And make no mistake, showing up is the work this year. Oxen may be used to preparing things behind the scenes, keeping people together, solving problems without acknowledgement. But 2026 brings new expectations, especially in professional or family roles. It's no longer enough to be the one who gets things done. You need to let others know you're the one making it happen. That requires a shift in self-image. Not ego, not performance, but posture. Wearing yellow helps you inhabit that change. Not with flash, with quiet assurance. A soft jacket, a pale yellow blouse, a gold-toned watch. Something subtle that tells the world, I'm not just holding everything together anymore. I'm ready to lead it. And here's the deeper truth, no one else can lead like you can. Not because you shout, but because you listen, because you remember, because you carry values that don't bend just because things get loud. And in a year filled with noise, those values will stand out if you let yourself be seen. So on the morning of January 1st, don't dress for who you've always been. Dress for who you're becoming. Choose a yellow that fits you, not the version of you that stays in the background, but the one quietly ready to step forward. Not as a different person, as a fuller one. Because in 2026, being strong behind the scenes won't be enough. This is your moment to bring that strength to the surface. And yellow is how you begin. 6 Pig when kindness looks too quiet. Some people walk into a room and change its temperature. Not with volume, not with power, but with presence. Pigs, those born under this gentle, thoughtful sign often carry that gift. They lead with kindness, listen before they speak, and rarely push. But in a year like 2026, that softness might be misread as hesitation, as passivity, as silence that agrees even when it doesn't. The pig doesn't mind staying in the background. They don't need to dominate conversations or fill space with noise. They value peace, comfort, and sincerity over speed or spectacle. But this year, that quiet nature could make them invisible. And when you're not seen, your message, your boundaries, your beauty, your strength risks being misunderstood. That's why yellow matters now more than ever. On January 1st, when energy is still malleable and impressions still forming, wearing yellow is not about turning heads. It's about being present fully, clearly, unapologetically in the room, in your family, in your life. Yellow doesn't change who you are. It amplifies what's already there: your warmth, your reliability, your quiet intelligence. It creates space around you that says, "I'm here. You don't need to look past me anymore." And that message isn't for others alone, it's for you. Because after years of showing up for everyone else, you might not even realize how much of yourself has faded into the background. The pig's greatest challenge this year isn't doing more. It's being seen more. And not through force, but through clarity. Yellow offers that clarity. It adds shape to kindness, direction to softness. It helps your presence linger, even after you've left the room. It doesn't fight. It doesn't beg. It simply allows your energy to register, not just emotionally, but visually. This year, people may move quickly, talk loudly, make snap decisions, but your role isn't to match their speed, it's to anchor your own, and to let others feel that anchor. That's what changes relationships. That's what shifts how others respond to you in work, in love, in family. When you wear yellow, you say without words, "I'm not hiding anymore. My gentleness still stands." It's a quiet power, but it's still power. The kind that doesn't chase, but also doesn't disappear. The kind that lets you enter a conversation with ease, yet still be remembered. When you start the year with a yellow piece, a shawl, a blouse, even just a pendant, it becomes a symbol, not of luck, not of superstition, but of a choice to stay true to who you are, while also choosing to be seen. Because the world doesn't just need louder voices, it needs clearer ones. And clarity, when rooted in kindness, is unforgettable. So if you're a pig, and you've ever felt overlooked, brushed aside, or told you were too nice to be noticed, this is your year to change that story. Not by becoming someone else, but by letting your presence speak first. Let yellow be that first note. Soft, warm, unmistakable. Kindness doesn't have to be quiet, it can stand tall. And when it does gently, but clearly, everything around it begins to shift. Part 3. How to wear yellow without dimming its power. Wearing yellow isn't about being trendy. It's not about wearing the boldest thing in the room. And it's certainly not about putting on a mask of confidence. Yellow, when worn intentionally, is much quieter than that. It's about creating harmony between who you are and how you move through the world. And when done right, it becomes one of the most powerful, invisible tools you can use to shape your energy for the year ahead. But here's the truth. Not every shade of yellow supports you. Not every fabric tells the same story. And not every outfit sends the signal you think it does. So if you're going to use yellow to start your year with clarity, presence, and calm strength, it matters how you wear it. Start with tone. Bright neon yellows, the kind that shout for attention, might be great for energy on a summer patio, but on the first day of a new year, they can overpower the softness of intention. The energy they project is sharp, almost demanding. But the kind of yellow we're talking about here is different. It's warm, earthy, soft like morning light. Shades like goldenrod, muted ochre, honey, marigold, pale butter, or wheat, they don't pull attention away from you, they pull energy toward you. If your skin tone leans warm, golden yellows will echo your natural glow. If your tone is cool, lean into pastel yellow with a gentle beige undertone. The goal isn't to blend in. It's to feel like you're wearing something that listens to you, not something you have to adjust yourself around. Next is texture and fit. Choose fabrics that move: soft cottons, linen blends, light knits, or silks that drape. Overly stiff or synthetic materials can interrupt the emotional warmth that yellow is meant to hold. Don't choose statement pieces unless that truly aligns with your energy. The most powerful expression of yellow is often the most subtle, a wrap scarf over a white top, a flowing blouse paired with cream, or a simple gold-toned bracelet that catches the light when you raise your teacup. Yellow doesn't need volume. It needs space to breathe. Pay attention to how you pair it. Combining yellow with neutrals like ivory, light brown, warm white, or dusty gray allows the color to express itself fully, not in competition, but in balance. Avoid clashing tones like bright reds, harsh greens, or deep purples on New Year's Day. Those combinations can feel emotionally chaotic. What you wear in the first hours of the year speaks directly to your nervous system. Let that conversation be calm. And remember, yellow doesn't have to dominate your outfit to guide your energy. You don't need a full dress or a bold coat. Sometimes the smallest touch says the most. A yellow pin, a soft gold ring, a folded handkerchief in a pocket. What matters is placement, timing, and intention. Where will you be on January 1st? A family breakfast, a quiet walk, lighting incense, hugging someone you've missed. Choose something that fits that version of you, not the version you think you should present. Yellow works best when it matches your inner rhythm, when it supports your return to self, not your performance for others. Because energy doesn't lie. When yellow is used well, it doesn't overpower, it uplifts. It doesn't beg for attention, it holds attention gently. It doesn't pretend it aligns. It creates a subtle opening for clearer boundaries, softer responses, stronger intention. So, before you choose your outfit this New Year's Day, pause. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel as I step into this next chapter? If the answer is peace, presence, clarity, then let yellow be your companion. Thoughtful, balanced, worn not to impress, but to connect. And maybe that's the most powerful thing about yellow. It doesn't transform you. It just makes it easier for the world and yourself to see who you already are. Final. As we've seen today, yellow is not just a lucky color. It's not a superstition to be followed or a trend to be copied. It's a frequency, a language of light that communicates with your nervous system, your emotions, and your energy field. And when used with intention, it becomes something far greater than fabric or fashion. It becomes a choice, a signal, a declaration of how you wish to show up for yourself and for the year ahead. We've explored what yellow means in motion. To the rat, it offers grounding amid inner storms. To the cat, it protects their pace. To the rooster, it loosens control and invites calm. For the monkey, it gives pause, a breath between choices. The ox wears yellow to step forward without losing their quiet strength. And the pig, yellow is their voice, the soft clarity that says, I'm here now. And yet, all of these stories, all of these energies return to one idea: your beginning matters. Not because it has to be perfect, but because it carries momentum. Energy, once set into motion, tends to continue. And the first day of the year isn't just symbolic, it's energetic. What you wear, how you feel, the space you create around yourself, it all sets a tone, not just for what happens next, but for how you respond to it. So if yellow calls to you this year, let it. But don't wear it to force an outcome. Wear it to return to yourself. To step into this new chapter not with pressure, but with presence. Because there's something sacred about choosing intentionally when most of the world moves on autopilot. There's something powerful about slowing down when everything else speeds up. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real luck begins. Thank you for taking this time with me, for listening with your heart, and for honoring your own rhythm. Wherever this year takes you, I hope you meet it with clarity, with kindness, and with the quiet power of someone who doesn't need noise to be noticed. May your year begin with softness and carry you with strength. And if something golden touches your shoulder on January 1st, may it remind you you're already enough. You've already begun.